The music you hear in the background is from our special guest today, Clarence Clemons III, also known as Nick Clemons to family and friends. Of course, Nick is the son of the late Clarence Clemons, the big man of the E Street Band, and Nick is carrying on the legacy of his father in music and in business ventures. Hello, Nick. How are you?
Haley, how are you?
I'm good. We're talking today with Clarence Clemons III. Now, Nick, give us a little bit about your background, if you would, because some people may not be familiar with you.
Well, my father was Clarence Clemons, the big man. Played with Bruce Springsteen for about 30 years. I passed away in 2011. And I've been a fixture in the area, local music scene, and trying to make sure I do a lot of good things for the community and keep his name alive. We've done a lot of projects in the last couple of years that should make the people of Jersey proud, and we're doing a lot of things to celebrate Jersey and celebrate the history of our great state.
You know, it's a great thing that we got to meet because I was a good friend of your father's, and I did a lot of work for him when he had his club, Big Man's West. And I also did some recording with him at Surefire Studios, which was a pretty cool thing because he was getting into transcendental meditation. And I think he actually changed his name, if you remember.
Yeah.
It was Mokshagun.
Mokshagun, very close.
Yeah, right. So we went into the studio and there were candles all over the place. And it was a really, really peaceful scene. And I play some of that music every once in a while. Your father was a really interesting man.
A peacemaker come later from that involvement.
Yes, right, exactly.
His good friend there right now, Michael Walden, ELO, and some other great hits. A lot of the work he did with Aretha, and Northern loved him very much.
Yeah, absolutely gorgeous man. And your father was an unbelievable person. Not many people really knew the real Clarence Clemons. When you shook his hand, as big as it was as big as his heart.
Yeah.
It was just amazing. So tell us about your music these days.
Well, we're playing locally again. Hopefully when things start up, getting back to writing some material, working with a lot of good people. A lot of good people in the area. We're putting together a project right now with Big Man's Management backing us. Gino Funicali and Kim Dillon, a lot of good people working with us. Our Big Man's Management helping us get many more projects together, not just music, but I have writers, and we're working on screenplays and game shows and stuff we're going to put in development. It's a huge project that we figured when we started just doing the beer that we did started out, we decided to go into other ventures, a charity that we're going to be doing called the Big Man Fund. And we have a thing called Big Man's Blaze Baked Good that's going to be coming out shortly into edible bakeries and promotional branding. And our success we have now with Big Man's Brew that's out in the shelves, the sky's the limit.
Tell us a little bit about the Big Man's Brew. How'd you get involved with that?
Well, I worked with a lot of local breweries to formulate a team and a plan to put our branding on a beer. But it had to be a good beer. Went through several processes, several smaller breweries to the point where we're flying fish right now. They're making the beer. You can hit our website, www.bigmansbrew.com. Also, you can inbox me on Facebook if you have any questions, or we do seek investment opportunities for people if they want to come in and check out what we're doing, besides many of our other ventures that we're going into, such as Big Man's West Apparel, will be coming out shortly. We have some great surprises coming up. My goal is to reopen Big Man's West. Maybe put our brewery in there and do a lot of good things as far as helping the community with jobs and the site that we're looking at. I think we have something that will stay for a long time and help cement Big Man's legacy in the area, and I think something Jersey would be proud of.
Carrying on the Big Man's tradition, that's for sure.
Yes, definitely.
Absolutely. Your father was a great man. It's amazing. There are a couple of stories I can tell. My parents actually moved out to California, and I knew that your father was living in the area. So this is kind of a strange story. While I was visiting my folks, I decided that one day I was going to actually make dinner for them because I love to cook. And I knew I was going to a store that was nearby their house. And I said to myself, what are the chances of running into Clarence? So I go into this store. Unfortunately, they're not around anymore, but they're like the precursor to Whole Foods. It was called Pepini's. So this is a store that actually made fresh orange juice 24 hours a day. And just like Whole Foods, you went to a butcher instead of getting your meat pre-wrapped, etc. So I go over to the butcher counter and I'm looking at the back of a guy who's in front of me. And as strange as it may seem, this is like such coincidence that I'm looking at him. I said, you know, there's only one guy in the world that I know that has dreads and is as big as he is and has earrings. And it turns out it's your father. So, you know, here I am in California, Northern California, going into a regular store, and your father's in front of me at the meat counter, the butcher. So he turns around and he says, he's looking really strange at me. He says, I know you. You're from the Stone Pony.
Must have
And
been Mill Valley.
oh, it was unbelievable. So, you know, handshakes and hugs and everything. We talked for a few minutes. But, you know, what are the chances? I think it was probably 1,000,000 to 1 that we run into Clarence out in California during those days. So, but he was, you know, and just because we had done some work, and you know, this is probably at least 10 years after he had closed Big Mans West, that he still remembered me. And actually, I was honored when he recorded a live album in Asbury Park at the Stone Pony that they wanted to use me to do the introduction. So I'm the person that's actually introducing him on the 2 live albums, live from Asbury Park. And whoever did the website actually used the same introduction. So I'm also on the website.
Okay.
Interesting, isn't it?
Awesome.
So now let's talk a little bit about baseball, because that's why we're here. And I don't know if did you play as a youngster?
No, I played through sophomore year, and I was at a private school, but you know, one of our guys got an invite to the Orioles camp, but it was nothing real serious. A lot of real softball, but I love the game. I used to be a Met fan back in the day.
Okay.
Then I switched over in the 90s with the Yankees because I was doing a lot of work up at the Yankee Stadium, so all my bosses were, and working with Chris Sable and that crew up at Giant Stadium, so I had to be a Tom Yankee fan or I wasn't going to eat.
Right.
And so I've loved both teams. I've seen it some up and down, seen them both turn the corner, and it's great to see both the teams coming up now, and hope the Yankees actually can make another 13 straight and get back, you know, and I was hoping they go 50-7. But I think the 60-game season now.
No, they lost last night to break their streak.
Yeah.
But, you know, and the Mets are upcoming. They've got some great players. It's such a sad time that we're mourning the loss of Tom Seaver.
Yeah.
Who's, you know, the epitome of Mr. Met. But what are any favorite players?
Well, you know, I used to love Strawberry back in the day, and Keith Hernandez, and my favorite Met player was Dusty Brooks. You know, and it's great seeing his son on playing basketball now. It's crazy, and Kevin Mitchell seeing his son playing basketball.
Right.
That '86 Mets team was just crazy, you know, and I'll never forget that. And the Yankees, you know, back in the day, when Mario was making his run, and you know those were good times in New York. You know, it was good to be back, and I could never say I was, you know, one or the other, but you know, I meet a lot of Yankee fans. It's part of history. It's part of what you do, and I've always had my heart belongs to the Yankees. I got to say that.
Right. The drummer in your father's band, the Red Bank Rockers, Jack Scarangella, has a unique history with the New York Yankees. I don't know if you know Jack or not, but Jack was the drum teacher for Ron Guidry.
Oh, wow.
Jack's got some great stories. We're going to hopefully have Jack on as a guest, because the stories, and we could probably do a whole week's worth of stuff with Jack. But he tells the story of teaching Ron Guidry drums down in the basement area or warehouse area of Yankee Stadium. He would set up 2 drum kits.
Wow.
And he would give Ron lessons, and Ron would play drums before he would go out to the bullpen to warm up.
That's great.
So, yeah, it's amazing. I don't know if you know Jack, but
yeah, I've met Jack a few times.
yeah, he's a special kind of guy, and I know your father really loved him a lot.
Much respect.
Tell me more about you went out to the West Coast with your father?
Well, yeah, I used to tour out there with my band.
Okay.
Right now, and this is the first band with, I think I had Joe Boris, One Eye Jack out there. This guy Andrew Calmandre, he works with Yes a lot right now, and also has a Meatless Mondays. Brilliant mind. Check out his show on Mondays, and
right.
He's a good friend of mine. I've learned a lot from him, and right now we're making some good music with the band I have out right now. We're gonna be back soon, and we're writing some music now. We're working with some great people. And you can hit our music on SoundCloud, Nick Clemons. I think the music's good to be free for the people, and try to challenge everybody else and make sure that they get the quality and depth that you're trying to produce. And
absolutely right.
Creating some live music recordings right now, and we have a song called Slow Roll that's out. You can listen to it, just play it real loud and bang your head.
Darryl Strawberry is a kind of unique person. After his playing days were over. Is he the one that's a reverend now?
Yeah, I mean, I have a story that's going to be in my book that I'm writing. I can't really say it now. I'm sure it's a PG show, but Darryl, my father, I have a good connection. It's a pretty funny one, and there's a woman involved, but I'll leave it like that.
Darryl had a history of kind of well, it was shady. Let me put it that way. But we had invited Darryl to the Monmouth Mall in Eatontown, New Jersey, to meet a young kid from Make-A-Wish. And his wish was that he interviewed Darryl Strawberry on tape, and Darryl was the ultimate gentleman. He first of all, not some people just thought of Darryl as a ball player, and sometimes, well, I won't say, but he showed up on time. He was great with the kids. He went in one of the stores and bought them a uniform, a hat, a jacket, everything Mets. And this kid was he was in such awe, and he did such a nice job interviewing Darryl. Darryl was so gracious. It was unbelievable.
Oh, Darryl Strawberry doesn't know anybody a thing. He gave his heart out there, and he gave us a championship. So Darryl doesn't know nobody a thing. And I was grateful to be rooting on him, and I root for Darryl every day, like everybody else. Anybody that's good coach of recovery, it's not a hard road. It's a hard road. It's not something that happens.
Oh, absolutely right.
I support anybody that's trying to make sure that they wake up wake up every day, and that's what it's about.
Our thanks to our special guest, Clarence Clemons III, Nick Clemons. If you'd like more information about the Big Mans Brew, the beer he mentioned bearing his father's name, go to bigmansbrew.com. Thanks everyone for watching. We'll see you all next week. Good night.